Another fascinating historical event from Indonesia before the 20th century is the Battle of Puputan in 1906, which took place in Bali. The Puputan refers to the mass ritual suicides performed by Balinese kingdoms during their final stand against the Dutch colonial forces. The context: by the late 19th century, the Dutch colonial government had already established control over most parts of Indonesia, but Bali remained largely autonomous, with several independent kingdoms. However, tensions between the Balinese kingdoms and the Dutch rose due to trade disputes and the Balinese tradition of Tahun, a law that allowed the Balinese to seize shipwrecks on their shores. The Dutch used these incidents as a pretext to assert control over the island. In 1906, a Dutch warship ran aground on Sanur Beach in southern Bali. The Kingdom of Badung, one of the most powerful Balinese kingdoms, enforced Tawan Karang, which angered the Dutch. The Dutch used this event as a justification to launch a full-scale military campaign to conquer Bali and consolidate their rule. The Battle of Puputan. On September 20th, 1906, Dutch forces, heavily armed with rifles and cannons, landed in Sanur and marched toward the capital of the Kingdom of Badung, Denpasar. Despite their vastly superior firepower, the Balinese royal family and its followers chose to resist rather than surrender. Upon realizing that they were hopelessly outmatched, the Balinese decided to perform Puputan, a ritual act of collective suicide, where warriors and civilians would fight to the death rather than submit to foreign domination. The King of Badung, his family, and the royal court, all dressed in white ceremonial garments, marched out of their palace to meet the Dutch troops. Armed with little more than kris, traditional daggers, and spears, the Balinese charged toward the Dutch in a symbolic and suicidal attack. The Dutch, shocked by this display of defiance, responded with gunfire. Hundreds of Balinese, including women and children, were killed. The King of Badung, along with his family, was among those who died in the battle. Rather than surrender, many chose to stab themselves with their own daggers, ensuring they died on their terms. Similar acts of Puputan occurred in other parts of Bali, including in the Kingdom of Tabanan, where the royal family also committed mass suicide rather than face Dutch subjugation. Aftermath and legacy. The Puputan of 1906 marked the end of the independent Balinese kingdoms, as the Dutch quickly established colonial rule over the island. However, the event left a lasting legacy in Bali and Indonesian history. The sacrifice made by the Balinese royal family and their followers is seen as a profound act of defiance and resistance against colonial oppression. Even today, the Puputan is remembered as a symbol of Balinese pride and their willingness to resist foreign rule, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Memorials to the Puputan can be found in Denpasar, including a monument in Puputan Square, which honors those who gave their lives in defense of their kingdom and culture. This tragic but heroic event serves as a poignant reminder of the cultural and spiritual values held by the Balinese people and their resistance against colonial forces, making it one of the most defining moments in the island's history before the 20th century.